You're listening to the AID Network.
Hey friends, today's episode is all about California and living the dream. And now the dream can be shipped right to your front door. Dream that dream, baby girl, in a 12-ounce can of delicious organic cold brew coffee infused with organic peppermint tea and cacao. Don't have a cacao, man? Well, we do in our cold brew. ThunderKingBrewing.com. AID COT to save on having California Christmas, our Christmas cold brew delivered right to your front door. Hey friends, go big or go home with the 1-week flash sale from my friends over at jackprints.com. Custom vinyl banners, large format posters, and Jaclay art prints, all marked down this week. If you're an artist out there who's looking to get some more prints into your store, try Jack Prints out for their fantastic Jaclay art printing. Unparalleled color range and saturation, archival stocks and inks, museum rag paper, matte and gloss canvas, and photo paper stocks. What I'm saying is, no matter what style of painter or artist you are, if you're making Jaclay prints, there's something that's just right for you over at jackprints.com. Standard sizes start at 8x10 and go all the way up to something monstrous at like 48x60. All of this is available over at jackprints.com, but you want to jump on it this week while they're having their flash sale on large format printing. And don't forget, go to jackprints.com/circle of trust where you save even more by listening to today's episode. Good evening, Billy. How are you?
Good evening, Mark.
Now,
Welcome to my podcast.
Now, before we get started, I'm in an extreme time crunch. I need you
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I need you under best behavior because there is zero time to edit any of what we're getting ready to record.
You understand, when you tell me to be on my best behavior, that's an incitement for me to not be on my best behavior.
I'm just saying that before we start tonight's show, you need to understand that you're under explicit instructions to be your best behaved version of yourself.
Okay, got it.
You know what this is like? It's like the whole plot to the Muppet Show was that they had to figure out a way to pull off that week's show, and that they were always
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, they're just always at the seat of their pants, just trying to pull it all together.
Bad dude.
Are we done?
I'm gonna say something for you, real sexy like.
Come on. What's up?
Woo! Woo woo!
Whoa. 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 Whoa.
Good morning and good design. Welcome to a very special holiday edition of the Shop Talk, heard around the world with me, your host, Mark Brickey, and my ever-changing, evolving, happy little man, Billy Bauman, co-founder of the show, best bud in broadcasting. Sometimes it's another holiday edition of Shop Talk. Billy Bauman, what do you say we get started right now? What do you think?
What's going on in your life that's got you by the seat of the pants? You gonna pack for another trip?
Actually, I leave. While this show is live, I am flying cross country.
Wow.
Yeah, going to Buffalo, New York, to see the family.
Yeah.
And then after that's over with, going to New York City for a few days with just me and the wife.
Okay. Is that a nickname for? Is that code word?
Yeah,
The wife.
It's code word for being married.
I thought maybe that was your side hustle.
Yeah. I'm going to take my side hustle to New York City. Billy.
Yeah.
I had to do something that's pretty risque, absolutely unheard of, completely dangerous, and I should be respected like the hero that I am for
brush your teeth finally.
making it through this task. This evening, are you sitting down over there?
Yep.
Okay. This evening, for 1 whole hour and 30 minutes, I went out into the real world without a
Your
mobile
cell
phone on my
Wow.
person.
Wow. Did you have a dog with you?
I was by myself in the world with no internet device.
By yourself?
Yes. No internet
side
device.
hustle?
No side hustle. No the wife. No dogs. Literally out in the world
Really?
by myself without a phone for 90 minutes. And guess
Were you
what?
mowing the lawn or something?
Bro, I haven't mowed a lawn in over 5 years.
Bro.
There are 2 guys that show up here every Wednesday to do that. Billy, I went out into the world without a mobile
Yeah, I
device
got it.
for 90
I got
minutes.
it. Did you find a light enlightenment? Are you enlightened now?
Yeah, I'm the guy now that tells people, I don't even have a phone.
Those fuckers that tell people they don't have a TV.
Yeah, oh, enjoy your books. I almost said a word that would cause an edit, but I didn't because, Billy, we're on our best behavior tonight.
Wow. Okay.
But I went through the world without this device, and then the only thing I could do was go to the darkest corner I could find and just hide for 60 minutes.
That's not what you did.
That's what I did. I went to the darkest place I could find in a mall, and I hid in the back corner of a booth of a cheesecake factory.
Wait, you went to the mall without your phone and then went to the Cheesecake Factory.
Yes, I'm giving you all of the pieces of a clue, of a riddle that you're going to figure out.
Oh, you went and saw. Did you see Santa Claus?
No, but it was bring your dog to get his photo taken with Santa Claus night. There were little dogs everywhere in the mall.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah, it was great. A lot of them had little jackets on. But no, without the phone, with nothing to
weird.
do for 90 minutes.
I don't understand why you're doing that.
No, there's clues in there. You could figure out this riddle if you must.
Oh, you bought me a Christmas present.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, that's so nice. It's a dog. you stole a dog from someone at the mall.
Yeah, here it is. I'm gonna put him in a box. Hope he makes it.
Yeah.
Bill, you ever do this? You ever wear a hat
Yeah.
and then when you finally get back to your car, you've got itchy hat hair?
Yeah, I don't associate that with getting back to my car, but yeah.
But you're in your car and your hair's kind of itching because you've been wearing a hat all day, and you go, because I'm in my car and I'm only going to see these people for 15 seconds as they pass me, I can take my hat off now.
Of course. Who cares?
Okay. So I take my hat off. I hang it on my gear shift knob because it's up high on my console. And I was getting onto the highway. And because there were cars behind me that were backlighting me, and because my hair was all like disheveled from wearing a hat all day, when I looked up into my rearview mirror, I saw like a silhouette of me where I was like extremely bald with like little scriggly hairs on the outer perimeter. And I was like, holy shit.
What's happened to me?
The ghost of Christmas past is in my rearview mirror.
Wow. Were you terrified?
I was completely terrified. I'm like, oh my God, is that what I really look like? And I was like, oh no.
Yeah, hit to your ego.
Yeah, I'm wearing a hat.
Something I really would love to get into.
Well, I was getting into something, but go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was the end of the story.
No, it made me think about something.
Okay.
When I didn't have a phone for 90 minutes out in the real world, I thought about there was a moment when I could have stayed in Buffalo, and what would that guy look like? And
what would that guy look like?
because I was looking at people, no offense to anybody listening, but I was looking at people that eat at the Cheesecake Factory, and some of them maybe just look like they'd given up. And I remember when there was a moment where I could have maybe given up, and then I saw that weird version of myself in the rearview mirror, and I thought a fun exercise.
Cheesecake Mark.
And I thought an interesting exercise for you and I to do is, what if we looked at our ghosts of Christmas past? Like, for example,
I am Cheesecake Mark.
No, you're not.
No, yeah, I am.
No, you're not.
Oh my God.
All right, it's
I was so cute back in the day.
oh, I mean, we were a couple of twinks when we were doing this podcast a
I
decade
know,
ago.
so fresh and so young.
And one day you just drift into bear country. But
Yeah.
think about this. The cheesecake, the Ghost of Christmas Past for me. I'm going to lay this out, and I'd love to hear what your version of you is. Okay.
Uh-huh.
The version of me that's way in the past that I somehow avoided is I'd have a lot more LBs on me. I would probably be living in a bigger home that I own, but it would be in upstate New York. My wife and I would still
a different house than the one I stayed at.
Oh yeah. Because this is like stand on a path, Mark, right? Like this is
Upgrade, Mark.
nah, I wouldn't say upgrade because
I mean Buffalo upgrade.
yeah, Buffalo upgrade, yeah. But in this version of myself, I would think, what if the poster game, the working for yourself game, got too hard? What if Ghost of Christmas Past is me
What do you mean got too hard?
taking an agency job, right?
Oh my God, you'd last about 2 months.
Like, what if
Then
Beth
they
and I would have taken
fire
agency?
your ass.
What if Beth and I would have
Yeah.
taken agency jobs?
Yeah.
What if we would have that steady little paycheck working at an agency? Probably would have got a better and bigger house, which would have come with it more debt. Probably, maybe would have did the kid thing because then we'd have insurance. Kids, house, snow, probably less active. And I thought, I like literally in my mind, because I didn't have a phone to look at, I literally tried to imagine what that guy looked like
Yeah.
and what that guy's life was like and what his house would look like and how my pants would fit me. And the one thing that I thought
I like
of,
that guy. He seems nice.
I
I want to get a coffee with that guy.
yeah, he's busy, bro. He's got a big meeting tomorrow. But I thought that version of me, if Adventures in Design exist and listen to this podcast, that version hates this guy. Hates this guy. Because he would be fucking jealous of this guy. That's
Oh, really?
yeah, like fuck this guy.
I thought this guy is jealous of that guy.
Not at all. I
Oh,
dodged a
yeah.
fucking bullet, man.
Oh man, listen, a couple pounds sounds nice and cozy. Kids, that sounds fun. Nice
Yeah.
big house.
Christmas.
That's nice.
Christmas time.
Little health care.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Driving
have.
around the Suburban.
Woo!
Kids in the back.
What did I do?
That sounds good. I'll give you my moment.
Yeah, give me your Christmas past.
I was in 4th grade.
Boy, you're going real far back.
I know, but this is real. I think about this a lot. I was in 4th grade. I was always small, right?
Even
So
when
I
you
went-
grew up.
So I went into the hospital, and they tested me for 24 hours
Mm-hmm.
to see if I had a human growth hormone deficiency.
Okay.
Turns out I didn't. But since I was small, I had the option to get the shots every day for like the next 5 years.
What would the shots do?
It would have. I'm 5'7".
Okay.
Today, the man you're looking at now,
Sitting on a stack of phone books.
5'10", 5'11".
Wow. You'd be my height.
Yep.
God.
And how would that have affected my life?
Well, it would have affected
I
my life
think-
this way. When you would have slapped me, I might not have hit you right back.
I think it would have changed my life drastically.
You think the extra 4 inches would make that big of a difference?
You don't know what it's like being a male who's, and we have a lot of friends that are shorter than 5'7",
Yeah.
but it can be tough in a lot of ways.
Is your wife taller than you?
No,
No.
she's not. She's slightly shorter.
Would you date and have married a woman that was taller than you?
Yes, but it doesn't happen typically the other way around.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
you're taller than them?
No. That women will even consider a man
Right.
who
right.
was like who was less than 5'10".
Beth gets high sometimes and goes, she gets
Like
high.
high?
Yeah.
Like
No. She just gets like this weird, like sometimes she'll be like, I'm taller than you. I'm like, no, you're not. And I step up to her.
My wife will do that too.
And I tower over her by a good solid 2 or 3 inches. I go, when are you? We've been together now for 15 years. When are you going to realize that I'm taller than you and stop this? Okay, Billy.
They're competitive. Yeah.
So work me through this though.
Yeah.
In the spirit of the holidays, what do you think Play It Safe Billy looks like right now? Like your Ghost of Christmas Pass. Like you moved to Chicago to take the jobs, working at the ad agencies. Let's say you stayed that course. What does the Ghost of Christmas Pass Billy look like?
Well, Play It Safe Billy is still in St. Louis, right?
Oh, really?
I mean, wouldn't you say? Doesn't that take balls to tell my employer I move me to Chicago?
Yeah. I guess that is. I mean, because you were working in agency life in St. Louis
for 2 years,
but then you went to Chicago, which is in the Midwest. That's pro baseball right there. That's the big league.
It's the biggest, closest.
Yeah. Chicago's third biggest market in America for advertising?
Yes. For advertising? Yeah, absolutely. I would think so.
What do you think's bigger, Chicago or San Francisco?
Chicago.
Okay.
Apropos to nothing. I just said that.
But you said it with such confidence that we all believed it.
Chicago has a real history with advertising.
Right. Was a lot of the Miracle Mile built by ad agencies, like that industry, or is that automotive industry?
The Miracle Mile?
Like all the...
No, that's like shopping and stuff.
Yeah, but there's high rises all through there, right? Like all fancy high rises.
What are in those high rises?
Yeah. Like what industry built that?
Geez, I don't know. I think it's all over. I don't know. I mean, that's a good question.
Because, I live in a big ass city and second biggest.
High rises.
Second biggest. But I was watching the Rams play the Bears on Sunday Night Football.
How about that game?
Horrible.
How about that game?
Fucking Bears.
The Bears shut them down.
Big time.
Shut them down.
But they kept doing the flyovers of Chicago at night. And
yeah, it's beautiful at night.
My Lord, it's a huge downtown metropolis area. Like it's
pretty
huge.
Cool.
And I was looking at all the buildings and I kept wondering, I'm like, what industry built Chicago?
The bubblegum industry, obviously, with the Wrigley's.
A lot of money in that gum. A lot of money in that gum. That motherfucker Wrigley owns a whole island. If you leave my house and go to the ocean and you swim for about an hour and a half, you're going to hit, well, actually 12 hours, but you're going to hit an island that the man owned. He was buried out there.
This is what happened with Chicago.
Okay.
Around the Industrial Revolution, right? The train companies, right?
Mm-hmm.
They could either go through St. Louis or they were going to go through Chicago.
Okay.
St. Louis said no for some reason, I think. And Chicago said you can have your stockyards and your train hub in Chicago. And that's what did it.
You would think that St. Louis would have been their number one pick because it's a little bit more centrally located. And Chicago's a top edge.
Yeah, well, 120 years ago, they were similar to some degree, right? In scale, right?
But I'm talking about proximity.
No, in proximity, yeah. But I mean, in size of cities, St. Louis was comparable. It was a big time city.
St. Louis is a hellhole.
But there's parts of it that are very nice, just like in every city.
That's where Joe Buck lives.
Yeah, Joe Buck is from there because his dad, Jack Buck,
was Jack Buck,
the announcer for the Cardinals.
Yeah,
for ages. Yeah. There's a topic I'd like to bring up with you.
Hold on. Ghost of Billy Past. What does that guy look like? I want to know this. So your Play It Safe version is staying in St. Louis?
I don't know. I mean, obviously the market in St. Louis is much smaller for design and advertising. I mean, they have it, of course.
Yeah, of course. Every major city does.
Yeah.
Somebody has to make flyers for the Creepy Crawl. But what do you think? What do you think it would look like, though? You pick whether it's St. Louis or Chicago. What do you think agency, corporate, getting a paycheck every Friday, that slow and steady. Like you don't make a ton of money, but it's constant. Like that drip.
You kind of do. You can make a lot of money.
I don't know. I never had the job. I'm just speculating.
not LA money, but you can make a lot of Chicago, St. Louis money.
Made some pretty good coin.
First of all, if I was in St. Louis, I'd be pretty. That's the whole idea of that's very depressing to me.
Yeah, because old Virgin Me would be Louisville. So let's just skip where we came from.
Yeah. So but Chicago. I mean, I could see a lot of positives to me working in a big agency. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're all financial based. Yeah.
So what's that guy look like? Well, like what part of town do you think that guy would live in? If you just for the last 15 years, if you just kept going and going, working at an agency in Chicago, Ghost of Christmas Past, what's that guy's life look like?
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe I'm probably married still.
More kids?
Probably have a kid.
House still. Or condo downtown?
That's a good question. I don't know. Condo, maybe. My life probably looks a lot the same, actually, except I have to get up early in the morning, and my car is much nicer.
Yeah.
And my 401k is much nicer.
What is that? All right. I was just curious because obviously there's been an enormous amount of sacrifice and wear and tear on the path that we chose. But even though I guess this is sort of what I surmise is that I could have a bigger house. I could have more security. I could have more money in the bank. I could have a nicer car. But I think that guy, for my own personal terms, I can't speak for you, but I think that guy would look at somebody like me and just be completely green with envy on the guy that rolled the dice, is doing like the flashier fun things, and just living a life that's more full. Like that guy would never know shutting down Disneyland at 1 a.m.
But here's the thing, Mark. I think thinking about this is very foreign to both of us because it was just sort of in us to do what we've done.
Of course.
Right.
Too restless to go the other way.
Yeah.
Hey, friends, I would like to urge you to use my friends over at pingamestrong.com to create enamel pins for your bro army, for your customers, for your brand, for your clients. If you do any branding this year, enamel pins are incredibly cheap, even cheaper when you use your discount code AIDCOT over at pingamestrong.com. So if you do some branding for one of your clients, why not follow the work end to end and say, hey, I just mocked up this enamel pin. I can get you 1,000 of these for only a few $100s. Is that something that you would be interested in having me make for you? Okay, so what you're doing right there is you're making your relationship with your client even stronger, but you're also marking up a little money in the middle. Let's look at a local business somewhere where you live. Let's go over them and pitch that you can become their pin guy. You can make them various different types of pins for whatever it is that they offer to their customers. And when you go over to pingamestrong.com, no shipping, no hidden fees, and a discount for listening to Adventures in Design. You're now this company's pin guy. So instead of just selling them one logo, why not sell them 10 and hundreds and thousands of pins? And every time they reorder, you'll get paid again. That's called passive income. That's called royalties. That's called making your own luck. And it all starts by going to our sponsor, the official pin maker of AID and Violent Gentlemen. It's DKNG. Hell, they make pins for all of us. Head over to pingamestrong.com, coupon code AIDCOT. You won't be sorry. Take it from me.
Let me ask you this.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking the other day, I still get professionally jealous.
Sure.
Right?
We all do.
I saw someone I knew launched a thing and I was like, oh man, that's a great client. I wish I had that client.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I'm that competitive fire.
You saw that Nate Duvall jigsaw puzzle and you thought, damn it.
Yep, that was it, Mark. So, and then I was thinking, well, what is that? Do you feel that yet? And who do you comparing yourself to?
I'm in a real weird spot because
That's why I'm curious.
yeah, because on one hand, I'm like crazy successful for what I do. But on the other hand, I'm a complete failure compared to other people that do what I do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm in a
Yeah.
real weird spot. Hold on, Larry. Uncle Larry wants out of the office.
Larry the cable guy. Larry.
Yeah.
I haven't met Larry yet. You
Go
gotta
on,
hold
bud.
him up.
He's a little shaky.
He's shaky.
His nickname is Larry the Cuddle Guy.
He's got stage fright.
Yeah, he doesn't like people from Chicago. But anyways,
Yeah, fuck him.
that's a hard thing for me to figure out because if I look at other podcasters in the world of design that have to do this as a side hustle and they're still doing freelance and they can't get that many episodes out, blah, 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 blah. Like I'm wildly more successful than those guys because they're probably just making a little bit of ad revenue and a little bit of Patreon money, which is, not enough to really make a difference. So I'm wildly successful if I look at it like that. But if I compare myself to a Joe Rogan or a Mark Maron or an Adam Carolla,
Wow.
I'm fucking
Yeah.
super far behind.
Sure.
So
sure.
that's kind of the weird thing is that when you go to sell a house, it's all about comparables.
Yes.
I don't have any fucking comparables. That's my problem.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. Let me ask you a question. Your wife is successful,
Yeah, she's real successful.
more wildly successful than you ever could have imagined for her.
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. So does that give you any demotivation to rest on your laurels?
No, it's weird. My wife's success is weird because I can be a competitive person and I can also be a spiteful person and a revengeful person. I guess that what I'm saying is I'm a human. And my wife's success is really, there's a few select amount of people that, and very short list that like, I always want the best for her. And the better she does genuinely, the happier I am. And the more,
But that's not what I'm asking you.
but I'm just saying, like, her success has never made me want to work less or work harder. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I feel like I'm a part of it. Like we very much still have
No, sure.
a business
Well-
partnership.
Well, I'm interested in this libertarian idea that I think is bullshit. Right?
All right, go ahead.
Of this idea of demotivation, right? Like if you give someone a certain level of comfort, then it will demotivate them to do what they want to do, right? Like for the example, the only reason that you're trying to be successful at what you're doing
Yeah.
is because you want to make money, or it's because you want to not be poor. Maybe that's a better way to put it.
Are you talking about me specifically or just?
Yeah, I'm talking about you specifically.
Okay.
Right? But what I'm saying is that's not the case. You're not trying to be successful because you don't want to not be poor.
Right.
I mean that's sort of a byproduct,
right.
right? You want to get by, you want to survive.
I have a
But
fear.
if you just wanted to get by and survive, you would have taken that agency job a long time ago.
Goes to Bricky Pass.
Yeah. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, so there is one thing that I've experienced where it's like you hit a certain level of success and it's kind of like cleaning your room. Sometimes it's hard to clean your room because you just don't know where the shit goes. Right? You look at your desk, you're like, all
Sure.
this shit on my desk. I could go through it. I could divide it up into smaller piles of like items. But at the end of the day, I don't know where it goes. Does it go in the garbage can? Do I give it to somebody? But if I give it to somebody, do I stop and do that now? Or do I let it sit here till it's more stuff and then I give it to somebody? So it just creates all these questions. And one thing I've found is that with a certain level of success, it locks up the brain where you're like, I don't know what I do next. And so it's not that you get lazy, you just get gridlocked on not like, oh, I guessed all this shit and I made a business where there was no business and I forged a path where there wasn't a path. Fuck, what do I do now? And then you just kind of sit there for a minute. And it's not a laziness, it's a little bit of like, I'm numb, I'm paralyzed here. I don't know what the next play is. Like I guessed it to this point. I don't know what the next stone I'm trying to leap to is.
that's interesting you say that, because that's sort of what I feel like my business is right now. Jason and I had a meeting today.
Oh, you fired him finally.
I wish I could. We had a meeting today about sort of the direction of the business. Like, what did we learn this year?
Yeah.
What worked? What didn't? Why didn't it? What should we do? How can we improve? That sort of thing. And so we're sort of in this limbo spot right now.
Just the two of you.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're the partners.
Yeah. I just didn't know if there was like anybody else in that meeting or not.
No, I mean, we do have company-wide meetings,
of course,
where we like to involve people, discuss this stuff, but sometimes it's just
right.
Me and Jake, because some topics that I won't get into right now are sensitive.
Of course.
Right. Do we talk? Do we keep this guy? Do we let this person go? Who do we fill this spot? That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, these are things you don't want to talk about, but you got to talk about, because it's all
housekeeping.
It's all about matching up the numbers so that you're maybe in the black at the end of the month. Right?
Yeah. What a goal.
Right. What a goal. What a goal.
So you guys are at that moment where you're wondering what's next.
We're stuck in neutral a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and is that because you're
one of our ideas?
Go ahead.
That I discussed with you today. Sorry, Mark. One of the ideas that we discussed today is because one of our clients keeps telling us to go out there, is we're going to maybe go out to Expo West to do some glad handing and see if we can network out there.
Can I give you a little bit of insight about what I know about Expo West?
Yes.
It's massive in scale, and all of the companies that have the type of budgets that you would want to work with are the type of companies that tend to send just people to work their booths. And so the people that
I don't know if that's accurate.
Well, my wife has gone out there for years now and meets with people. Like, that's a big part of how she gets signed for deals and stuff.
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, I think you're misunderstanding the type of clients we're looking for.
Well, what I was going to say, though, is if you're looking for the smaller startup companies, those people are there. Just they don't always have the proper budgets.
Yes, we realize that, but we feel like we have a track record with all of our smaller first person clients that we have started with them from ground floor.
Yeah.
It has grown. So we feel like we have a really good track record with that, and we can sell people on that process. So go out there, meet some people, some ground floor people.
Yeah.
And say, hey, we want to hop on. We love your product. We love your idea. We like you. Let's hop aboard here.
We know how to illustrate young jackfruit.
I do. Yeah. And if you pay me enough, I'll illustrate an old one. I'll give you a MILF jackfruit.
Oh, I love a good MILF jackfruit. Makes me want to jack. But
oh God,
I just want to give you that heads up that the smaller brands are there. Yeah. But, they don't always have the money. I don't expect
to be talking to Kraft Foods out there. Yeah.
Hi, Bill. My name is Mike Wallace. I'm in charge of individual sliced trees. Looking to put some new logos on the individual slices.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Let's listen. We have to try something new, because what we're doing right now is not doing enough.
I've been there.
Right?
I've been there.
So this is we're stuck in neutral, and we're like, okay, what's the next step? Just like you were saying.
Yeah.
What's the next step?
Yeah. No, I think that it's really weird where you and I, we both are creative and professional problem solvers. Our whole career has existed upon studying what's in front of us, figuring out a unique play, figuring out a game plan for that play, plan, execute, and survive. But what happens is that you figure out, okay, looks like this poster thing's kind of going pretty well. How do you do a poster for a band? Okay, let me figure this out. What's my art style? How do you print it? Okay, you figure that out. So now you think you got all the answers. And so you run that for like 3 or 4 years. But then the world starts to pivot. The bands don't want to pay budgets anymore, and a lot of other people get into it, and the economy melts down. And then all of a sudden, you find yourself in this depressed, lost. We used to sell more. We used to have more fans. We used to have bigger engagement. There used to be less people doing it. And you get into this depression, and then one day you snap out of it and you go, but wait a minute. I'm a creative problem solver. And then you look at where you're at and you go, oh, what if we just made art prints? Or what if we took all this printmaking we did and got into printing for others? You know what I mean? Like there's this cycle of we know how to solve all the problems, but sometimes you get an answer. You think you got it figured out. You run that for a while and then you get into a weird funk and you almost have to smack yourself and go, hey, buddy, time to find new metrics to follow. Time to reinvent your own wheel and to go back after it. You know what I'm saying?
And a lot of that happens organically too.
Yeah. And just sometimes,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Some like the market shifts or the world changes or you change or things just get a little bit differently. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, enough being bummed out that it's not the way that it was 3 years ago. It's time to make a life play.
Yeah. Well, for instance, like you were saying, the gig posters, 75 people used to be doing it in America. Now 750 people are doing it in America.
Right.
So what does that mean? That means we need more printers.
True.
So that's why we naturally, organically moved into printing for people, right?
We like to print in America.
Yeah.
We like to print in America.
Let me ask you, can I change gears?
Go ahead. Since you're stuck in neutral, I'd love to see you get out.
Yeah, and I'm only asking this because I know you can't edit the show. Okay. But I want to discuss the message we just got on Facebook.
I don't look at Facebook anymore.
Okay. Let me read it to you.
Read it to me, please.
I haven't actually read it yet. I just looked at the headline.
I don't look at Facebook.
I know.
I'm done with that company.
Okay. Jesus Christ. I heard you. Hold on.
I would like to say, though, after you read me whatever, are you familiar with Facebook's first ever consumer goods product?
Is this a commercial?
No, it will be a very critical review. Have you seen their consumer goods product they made?
The Oculus?
No. Facebook made a an iPad on a stick.
What?
Yeah. Read me this and then we'll talk about that.
Okay, this comes from a guy named Jeremy, last name redacted.
What up, Jeremy Redacted?
No, I redacted his last name. It's just short. This is okay. We're recording this on Monday. This is when your episode, the top 10 Christmas. This says having a hard time understanding a gun pointed at Santa, other than glorifying gun violence. So, I thought that would be an interesting topic for us to talk about on the podcast. First of all, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were glorifying gun violence?
100%. 100%.
Let me ask you this. I haven't discussed the cover with you at all.
Okay.
From an outsider point of view, I saw it and I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. I did think that. But then I thought, I think he's just trying to do like a bad Santa kind of irreverent, kind of like we're holding Santa hostage kind of thing.
Sure. All right. You want to know what that is?
Yes.
Okay. So it says top 22 movies, Christmas movies for people that love and hate Christmas.
Yes.
I love Christmas, but others don't. So the gun that was digitally placed in my hand
yes,
is to do a parody of, does this guy love Christmas or does he hate Christmas? So it's to play it both ways. But what's interesting is that exact photo of me ran 3 years ago and nobody complained at all. 3 years in the future, that's now out of bounds.
Oh, the picture with the gun.
It's that same photo. I ran it on the cover 3 years ago and nobody said a word. And now, 3 years
Don't you
later.
think it's weird that you're pulling the trigger with two fingers?
Well, because there never was a gun there. I was actually pointing at him.
No, I'm just kidding.
But I wanted.
So what you're saying is you do want to kill Santa, and that you are glorifying gun violence.
The two
and you're
fingers,
dropping your rap album next week.
The two finger, one is for the Father, one is for the Holy Spirit.
So what do you think about that comment?
I think that he fucking. If you're bent out of shape about me with a fake gun in my hand to Santa's head, who's a fictional character, like, go worry about something else. Like, I don't even care. I could literally care less if somebody is bummed out that I have a gun to Santa's head. There are so many other problems. It's a joke. It goes along with the theme of the cover. Like, fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Like, go harass somebody who's in the NRA. I don't even own guns. I've never shot anybody. There's a strong chance that I never will. Like, go pick on somebody who's actually doing something wrong.
Okay.
That is my hot take.
That's your hot take. I thought that was an interesting something to get bent out of shape about. Even if you didn't like the joke, I think saying glorifying gun violence is really taking a very large leap.
It's a huge leap, but this is what happens. People are afraid to fight the real opposition. So they try to look they try to look for weaker people to go after. And this is the other thing, because I'm in the arts, because I'm in a podcast, because I need people to listen to my show, they really think that it's somebody who's going to go, oh, dude, I'm so sorry I offended you. My response to this guy would be, if I was on Facebook, fuck off. Like, if you don't like it, unsubscribe. Don't follow me anymore. Go listen to another podcast.
So this is interesting. So Kevin Hart got...
that is completely unfair to Kevin Hart.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, okay, you got how long? I don't know how old that tweet was, but like, can we?
2014 is what I read.
2014. First of all, Kevin Hart is not a month. Like, this is the sort of low hanging fruit sort of idea that you're sort of talking about. Like, where is there no gray area? Is there no sort of variation in levels of offensiveness or what you're doing wrong? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, one bad joke gets you fired from the Oscars that you made 4 years ago. I don't know. I mean,
there's got to be a fucking statute of limitations on things these days.
Yeah,
right?
There does. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, it's a little, here's the thing.
Everybody was different 4 years ago. Like, all the people that fired Kevin Hart, all the people that got bent out of shape, go back to 2014. They were probably living a very different life, saying words we don't say now, doing things we don't do now. Like, society evolves. It moves on. Like, the funny thing is, that Christmas list where I got the gun to Santa's head, if you were to actually watch all 22 pieces of those media in their original formats, there's lots of things in there that are now out of bounds of society. So do we burn all those Christmas movies? Do we get rid of our entire history? Like, do we just take everything and wipe it clear, and 2019 is the first year of recorded history? Like, man has done bad things, but you know what? Some of us progress and we get a little bit better as we go on. That's what you celebrate. You don't go back and hold people for what they said 5 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I also think you have to look at intent too. You know what I'm saying?
Intent 5 years ago or intent today?
Intent today. Or just like Mark.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the gun image again.
Yeah.
What do you think your intent was?
My intent.
You know what I mean? No, I mean, listen, I think we can all assume and to know what your intent was. But it was to be funny. It was to make a sort of try to do a clever cover about your thing. It wasn't. Mark Brickey has never been and will never be someone who promotes and glorifies gun violence. It was a joke that maybe didn't hit with some people, but you can't crucify Mark or anybody else for, I think, making a joke that doesn't maybe land with everybody. You know what I mean? Or everything that someone says and does in the past, and I've said and done horrible things just today, but that like that I shouldn't have in the past publicly.
Yeah.
And I don't think that makes me a monster. It just makes me a human being. You know what I mean?
But there's a moment where, and once again, Kevin Hart is not the problem in America.
Kevin, that's exactly what I'm saying.
But they go for the easy mark. They go for the easy person to make an example of.
Yes.
And you have to watch out how you play these politics, because like if you look at the director James Gunn that got fired from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Ridiculous.
The people that actually wrote the letters to Disney and said, oh, he's an offensive guy, he's a monster. They were fucking white supremacists that were basically trying to take down a political enemy of theirs.
Yes.
So it was a false concern. It was just, here's somebody that has a lot to lose. Let's see if we can make him lose it.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Which is so despicable that that's where we're at. I mean, he did this guy who got on me for the gun thing. I guarantee you, if we go toe to toe, I will get in the face of the loudest, scariest adversary, and I will always stand up for what I believe in. And I guarantee you, this guy backs down. If me and him played a chicken on Let's Go Fight the White Supremacists, I guarantee you I'll go a step further every time.
Sure, but if you had a nice conversation with this guy and said, listen, he
doesn't want a nice... If he wanted a nice conversation, Billy, he would contact me directly.
Well, I think that's what No, it was a Facebook message, not a Facebook post.
Oh. Apologies. Greg retracted.
Yeah.
Is it a Greg that I know? Do you know do we know this guy?
I don't. Listen, I'm bad with names. I don't recognize him. I'll hold it up to your phone and you can see. Up to your phone. I'll hold my phone up to you. He's got a crazy last name. Well, we're making too big of a deal about it now, but
let me see this name.
Can you read that?
No, it's so blown out because of the camera.
It's blown out. Okay, whatever.
Anyways.
Okay, so you're going to have to edit that out now. Oh, my God.
Hey, friends, don't be left out in the cold. Coming up in part 2 of today's Christmas episode, Bill and I look at so many more topics surrounding, well, one of our favorite things, guns and politics and the ever-changing landscape of the world. But we also look at our Christmas futures to see where do we think we'll be several Christmases from now. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you even more for supporting AID over the year and being a member of the Circle of Trust. Not only does it get the bonus content of each and every episode and access to the archives, which is now over 870 episodes just like today, where people focused on making a daydream into a day job. And God knows it ain't easy. All of those episodes are over there, but what you also sign up for is the free content, knowing that you're supporting Adventures in Design, helping it grow, get out to more people, and get bigger and bigger interviews. More access to more talented people is always made possible by becoming a member over at AID.network. If you are a member and you saw last week a little black embroidered patch show up from our friends over at grizzlywheeler.com, well, let me give you a little insight. That is the special ops patch. To get that patch, you can't just buy it. You got to earn it. And coming up real soon, keep your eyes over on our website for a promotion where you can give the Circle of Trust subscription to a friend. And when you do, we'll give you the special ops patch. Not because we think that you're great, but because we think that you worked hard. Well, maybe both of those. Sign up today over at AID.network. Become a member of the Circle of Trust. Keep a lookout for Give the COT to a Friend this holiday season and earn yourself the special ops patch. All of this and so much more over at AID.network. Thank you for becoming a member of the Circle of Trust. Thank you for supporting Adventures in Design and our 2018 programming.
Here's another thing I've been thinking about that's sort of related to this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So whether or not you feel one way or another about what someone says, it really has a lot to do with your predisposition to your political stance or whatever your social stance is, right? So, for instance, if you are a right-wing person and Trump says and does some outrageous things, you're more apt to look past it or forgive it or shake it off because you agree with him politically, right?
Okay.
And and we're all sort of victim to this, right? I mean, Trump has done and says some just outrageous, just mind-blowingly, you can't even believe it, outrageous, stupid, horrible, offensive, dumb ass things that if Barack Obama did 1/10 of, it would have been, people would have been going nuts, right?
Right.
But so Trump is likely to get impeached, I think, right? And so I was thinking back to when we were younger, and I was a little too young to sort of really understand what was going on with Bill Clinton, right?
Right.
And I was like, okay, let's divorce the politics of being a Republican or Democrat. Should Bill Clinton have been in? Well, I mean, he was impeached.
But he wasn't removed.
But he wasn't removed. Should Bill Clinton have been removed for lying? Because he did lie about having sexual relations with Monica Lewinsky, who was fucking like 21.
Yeah.
Okay. In the Oval Office or whatever the fuck it was, right? Now, before you answer, imagine that never happened with Bill Clinton, but it was Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody on the left would 100% want to impeach Donald Trump for lying about getting a blowjob in the Oval Office to a 21-year-old. Okay?
Yeah.
And so
agreed.
Bill Clinton kept his job. Should he have? Yes, it was just a blowjob. Yes, it really doesn't in the matter in the world scope of things. I totally agree. But you have to, if you don't think Bill Clinton should have lost his job because of that, then, I think we need to, I'm just saying we need to try to sort of, not mystify, but try to see every position from all points of view in a way. You know what I mean? I think maybe when looking back now, Bill Clinton probably should have lost his job for lying about that.
I mean, I look at it this way. If this is kind of a complex thing to get through.
Yeah.
If Trump lies about cheating on his wife, I don't really care. It's none of my business.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
But if in cheating with his wife, he has to take out, mob loans and embezzle money to pay off people, and now there's people that are aware of this that could then have, blackmail collateral over our president and maybe sway him to make decisions that aren't right to the American people because of this. That's a little bit different than an intern blows you and you don't want your wife to find out.
No, totally. The stuff that Trump has been doing with the collusion and all this stuff, that is miles and miles further and above and beyond anything that or maybe not anything, but it's above a blowjob in the Oval Office.
I mean, would we not agree that lying to save your marriage is a little bit different than lying to destroy your country? I mean, isn't there like a scale there that one's a little bit worse than the other, or is every lie on the same level?
I completely agree. It's not okay. If you could just get impeached for lying on the podium, right?
We'd never had a president.
Yeah, we've never had a president. But Trump would have been, I mean, he's the Usain Bolt of lying, right? So the problem was Bill Clinton lied under oath.
Yeah.
That was the crux of it.
Yeah, and that to me, if you lie under oath, isn't the whole rule that if you lie to the Senate or to the House or to the Department of Justice that you could go to jail for it? So lying under oath goes beyond trying to save your marriage. You have now you've gone against what you swore an oath to the American people to do. And I always felt that Bill Clinton should have got it worse than he did, even though I like the guy and I voted for him twice. But I do, in a weird way, respect from a legal perspective that his whole thing was, well, let's define the word is. You know what I mean? Like you really got down into like, oh, I didn't say I never did that. I just said I didn't do it on Tuesday. You know, it really got down to the fine line wording of it. And if you recall, when he was on trial and it was broadcast like everywhere, he just kept cracking open Diet Cokes. And they're always like straight in the camera. And I was just like, is this a paid product placement? Did Diet Coke be like, yo, we need to get in on these trials?
It's interesting. I mean, I'm a couple years younger than you.
Yeah.
Not to rub it in. And
Everybody
happy
is.
birthday, by the way.
Thanks, bud.
So I wasn't totally politically conscious in 1996 or whatever the fuck it was. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have as vivid memories of the whole affair.
Yeah, I mean, there's the whole what's good for the goose is good for the gander, right? And I think with politics, a lot of people get so torn up on the us versus them, my guy versus your guy thing, that it can really skew. And that's why people don't like when we talk about it, is because, you know, I really, and it's documented here on the show, that I really try to keep an open mind about the Trump thing as long as I possibly could. Like I wasn't just out of the gate.
You did. It was much longer than I was comfortable hearing out of your mouth.
Yeah, I just was. I was just trying to do that thing where you try to stay open minded and you try to stay objective about things, and you know. And I was also raised that, you know, you can hate a presidential candidate, but when they become the president, you get behind your president. And after 9/11, I wasn't a George W. Bush fan, but I stopped making fun of him and I kind of got behind him, and I gave him my faith, and I gave him a real good run to sort of take care of America after that attack on New York City. That being said, I did not vote for him in his midterms. I went the other way with John Kerry. But, you know, I tried to see this as much as I could from the other perspective. But when somebody, you know, several times goes across one of your moral lines in the sand, then it becomes very hard to be objective about anything, because you literally start to hate the other person. But with all that being said, with all of the trials that go on, and, you know, I've become a huge news hound. I put at least 2 or 3 hours a day into it while I'm working and walking the dogs and living my life. I try to be objective as much as possible. And, you know, there are definitely moments where you can catch even your side going too hard on the guy.
Absolutely.
And that always kind of, I've tried to fine tune my watching and my viewing habits to people that I feel like try to still somehow, after like almost 700 days, hit it from somewhat of an objective perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I listen to a lot of political YouTube shows.
Oh,
nowadays,
by independent creators.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
And every once in a while, they'll go in hard on a right wing person, and I'm like, oh man, you're really bending there to make this guy look bad. Yeah. Like you got to be able to see through some of the bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, okay, hold on. You are, and you see it obviously from the left and the right, and I would argue more from the right, but yeah, you gotta really watch out for that shit.
I think that one of the things that irritates me, going back to our friend Greg and saying that I'm promoting gun violence.
Greg, I don't think it wasn't Greg, but okay.
Wasn't that the guy's first name?
No, it wasn't Greg. It was Jonathan or something.
Oh, okay. It's like when people just jump on something like that, hey, like, aren't you promoting gun violence? Like, the one thing that I never thought about, never even considered when I hit upload today, was that putting that photo out was putting my stamp and seal of approval on kids. By all means, go grab a gun. And if you get a clean shot at Santa, take them out. Like, to me, it's so ironic because I am the guy, the gun in, you know, let me ask you this. Can the gun still be like a symbol or a metaphor, or is it now always going to be a gun? Because
I mean, it's the gun is such a great